Good morning. Breaking news. You're looking live at the West Bank. Thousands gather at Yasser Arafat's compound as the Palestinian leader is laid to rest there today, Friday, November 12th, 2004.
From NBC News, this is Today with Katie Couric and Matt Lauer.
And welcome to Today on this Friday morning, everyone. I'm Katie Couric.
And I'm Matt Lauer. Yasser Arafat's body is set to arrive in the West Bank shortly. That after a military funeral in Cairo a little bit earlier this morning, where leaders from 60 countries were on hand.
Look at that sea of humanity. We're going to get the latest from NBC's Brian Williams in Ramallah in just a moment. And the big question this morning across the Middle East and around the world, is there a better chance for peace now in that volatile region with new Palestinian leadership? We'll talk with former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright about that.
Also ahead, the Scott Peterson murder trial. Today, the jury resumes deliberations after two jurors, including the foreman, were dismissed earlier in the week. Is the case headed for a mistrial? We'll talk about that. Then take a look at this video. It apparently shows two men stuffing a woman into the trunk of a car at a shopping mall. Now, this happened in Southern California earlier in the week, but surprisingly, no one has come forward to identify the woman. No incidents of missing persons reported in that area. We'll talk to the police about where that investigation stands right now.
And then later, on a lighter note, place your bets. We're going to see which animated giant will take the crown at the weekend box office. Will The Incredibles defend its crown, or Chris Laura Linney? He's got two movies coming out, one extremely provocative called Kinsey, and also the latest candidate fired by the Donald on The Apprentice. And finally, it's my turn. We're going to meet my double, an intelligent, gorgeous, and funny woman. I think you guys wrote that. I didn't. Anyway, she's from California.
You were willing to say it.
Well,
there is no shame here.
I was reading it cold. Anyway, she's a really nice girl, and we had a lot of fun together.
All right, look forward to that. But this morning we begin in the Middle East with the funeral and burial of Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. NBC's Brian Williams is near Arafat's burial site in Ramallah on the West Bank. Brian, good morning to you.
Well, Matt, good morning. And we are here, of course, to cover the last memorial service and a burial. But what we have unfolding behind us in this small hilltop town that used to be called part of the Palestinian Alps is a situation just shy of being completely out of control. Palestinian soldiers and security forces are trying to keep the crowd back. They are coming into this town from hilltops and narrow streets, and we don't know how the helicopters are going to land when they're expected to land in 15 minutes. This mob scene is a sharp contrast to the sedate beginnings of this day. Kings and presidents came to pay a final farewell to Yasser Arafat this morning. Cut fences to get here. They have blown through roadblocks to get here. There isn't a tree in this area without people in it. There isn't a telephone pole or a building balcony without people on it. And again, we are still minutes away from the scheduled helicopter landing. Matt?
And Brian, it's completely unpredictable what the reaction of that crowd will be once that helicopter lands. You mentioned in your piece that Yasser Arafat had wanted to be buried in Jerusalem. I'd heard some stories circulating that some of the mourners might actually try and get hold of the casket and head toward Jerusalem with it.
Well, that is the greatest danger. You have a split here. A lot, especially if the young people feel that what they have planned behind us with the military color guard and the bands is too westernized or sedate a service. They would very much like to see the casket of their father, their teacher, as they call Yasser Arafat, carried through the streets so the pilgrims, the ordinary people, can touch it and bear witness. They do not like what is planned. It's why they have pushed their way through, and it is very electric, very tense. It's a mob scene. We may see a diversion of the helicopters to another location and then an attempt to cut their way through the crowds via motorcade. Matt?
All right, Brian Williams in Ramallah today reporting on the morning or the memorial for Yasser Arafat. Brian, thanks very much. Of course, he'll have more on Arafat's funeral and burial tonight on NBC Nightly News.
It's coming up on 7:06. Now let's go to the news desk where Natalie Morales is in for Ann Curry with the rest of the morning's top stories. Natalie, good morning.
Good morning, Katie and Matt, and good morning, everyone. U.S. forces in Iraq are making progress in Fallujah. However, the 4-day battle to rid the city of insurgents has claimed 18 18 U.S. troops. NBC's Richard Engel is in Baghdad now with the very latest. Richard, what can you tell us?
Guilty verdict goes on to second-degree murder. And, of course, that would mean if there's a not guilty as to second-degree murder that Scott Peterson is not